Hey everybody, welcome back to Mission Control for a feature-focused video. In this video, we're talking about Tracking View. The Tracking View window allows you to see and edit how dimmer levels and other attributes are tracked between queues in a queue list. This is really useful to tidy up a show after a frantic programming session if you've saved hard values accidentally instead of using tracking, or to work out where an incorrectly tracked value is coming from. Each row represents a queue in the selected queue list, with columns representing the queue number, legend, and tracking mode, and values and tracking mode of the attributes in the queue list. To show the tracking view, use the context menu in the playback view to select View Tracking. You can also double tap Open/View and select Tracking View from the Workspaces menu, but then you need to select the queue list you want to view from the list on the soft keys. You can select a different queue list to view using the context menu, select Queue List option. Remember that context menus can be the 4-line button on every window on the Titan Go, Sapphire Touch, and D9s, or on the other consoles, you can also choose it from here to select the soft keys B, C, and D. So let's take a look at that real quick. Here I'm on version 16 of Titan on the Titan Go hardware interface, just so we can have some more room for on our screen to show everything we're going to do here. So, as I got a couple queue lists here, I can open up the view on one by hitting the Open/View key and the blue key on it, or tapping this area here above the queue list. And then I can select from my context menu here, I can go to View Tracking, or I could have done it here in my context menu here in View Tracking. I can also open up that window by double tapping my Open/View key, and then finding Tracking View. The cells show the value of the associated fixture and attribute for the queue. By default, where a value references a palette, the palette legend and number are shown in addition to the value in brackets. This can be changed to show just the value or just the legend via an option in the context menu. The color of the value indicates whether it is a hard or tracked, as follows. White represents an initial or unchanged hard value. Green represents hard values where the level has reduced. Cyan represents hard values where the level has increased. Magenta represents tracked values. Red represents a block. A dash represents no information tracked or a hard value. So let's have a look at that. So back here on Titan, we see I got my queue list here, and up top here we got a cyan because our level is increased from 0 to the first step in our queue list. And then in the Q2 it tracks from 100% in, that's why it is magenta. And then in Q3 we recorded a hard value on this fixture, so it is white. And then in Q4 we can see it reduced to 0, so it is green. And then it tracks at 0 into Q5, and then increases to 75% in Q6. And Q7 is blocked, so only no values will track through, only what is recorded. In this case, since we don't have anything recorded in Shutter, it does not track in. And then in Q8, we have a hard value of 100% again, and then a magenta where it tracks, and another hard value in Q10. The tracking mode of an individual fixture or attribute is not set to global. A T appended to the value indicates individual fixture or attribute tracking mode is set to track. A B indicates a block. A C indicates queue only. S indicates solo excluding shapes. SX indicates a solo including shapes. BX indicates a block shapes. So back here in our tracking view, I made a couple of edits. So you can see that here on Q3, I set it to be the dimmer to be only queue only, even though our tracking is set to global, which is set to track by default for all queues. So we set it here to be queue only here. Here we set it to be a solo. Here we set it to be a solo excluding shapes. Here we've set it to be a block. Here we've set it to be a block shapes. By selecting one or more values in the grid, you can do the following from the soft key options. Press X to deselect all values in the grid, or click on them again. Select function gives you a submenu with various levels or fixture functions. Tracking gives you a submenu where you can change the tracking mode. Set hard value records the values in the selected cells as hard values. Delete will remove all hard, untracked values in selected cells. This has no effect on tracked values. Delete redundant will remove hard values if the same value would have been tracked into the queue. You can use this to delete hard values and return queues to being tracked in multiple columns or rows by selecting the column/row headers. Off sets selected values to off. On sets selected attributes to on. So let's have a look at that. So back here in Titan, if I was to click on my whole row of BMFL here, so I can set every Set these values for every queue in my queue list, all 10 queues. If I hit select function, I can go between 0, 25, 50, 75, or 100. And we'll just hit exit to get out of that. If I was to go to my gobos and do the same thing, you can see that I can choose between which gobo I wanted to set it to be, or function in it. If I was to click on a single value, I can set its tracking to be what I want it to be. If I wanted it to be just queue only, you can see here I set it again. It has just the queue only in Q2. It also says how it's currently set as a tracked value. I click on it and set it as a hard value now. So now we see it as a hard value of 100 instead of a tracked value from Q1. So if I changed Q1, Q2 would not also change. If I wanted to change that back, I can simply click on it again and set it to have delete redundant, since it's redundant to have this at 100 when this is already at 100. And see that now it goes back to tracking. So if I change this one here to 75 and hit enter, we see now it's at 75 and this tracks into Q2 because it is tracking through. And now Q3 goes magenta because it is increasing from 75 back up to 100. If I wanted to move this 100 here, this hard value, I could click on it and go ahead and hit delete. And now it tracks through to 75 from the first queue all the way to here. If I was to set this back to 100, you see it tracks through all of them. And I'll go ahead and set this one as a hard value again. So now this is a hard value in Q3. And I'll set this to actually 80. So now we can see that our dimmer comes up to 80 to start with, tracks into Q2, into Q3. If I was to set Q3 to off, we see it's now off value, which means it's going to track through from 80% into it. But if I wanted to turn it back on, I see it goes back to remembering that it was 100 before. So off just tells Titan not to do that anymore, and on just says, hey, let's do that again. So we didn't destroy the information, we simply weren't using it until now again. On the left side of the window, you can filter fixtures and the attributes shown in the grid to show only one of the IPCGBES attribute banks, which is intensity, position, color, gobo, beam, effects, and special, or all of them. You can also select the current attribute bank as selected on the console buttons, show only the currently selected fixtures, or a particular type of fixture patched in the show. So let's have a look at that. So here, as you see, I can have it show all attributes. So if I scroll across here, I can see for my BMFL number 9, I can scroll across all of its attributes, all 49 channels in a BMFL, between its colors, its gobos, and see the tracking for all of those different attributes. And then in my other fixtures, I use number 10 BMFL, and same thing all the way down through all of my fixtures. I can also filter out to show just intensity, so just show dimmer and shutter for all of my fixtures that are in here. Or I would show just position, so pan and tilt. I have show just the color channels, just the gobo channels, just the beam, so iris, zoom, focus, blades on a BMFL blade, the effect ones, so the prism and the graphic animations, and specials going to be things like pan and tilt, speed, control channels, things along those lines. I can also have it show just particularly selected fixtures, so if I close my tracking view and selected, my fixtures and groups window and went to my rig and selected just these two BMFLs and went back into my tracking view. So double tap open slash view and tracking view. And have it show just the fixtures selected. I can see it shows just those two fixtures that I have selected and none of the others. Just user numbers 10 and 11. I don't have to do it by bank selection, so I can filter it out to be just the special channels in those two BMFLs, or just the two intensity ones, so we can see just those two BMFLs and just their intensity if we wanted also. You can also turn that off. You can have it do, if we had more than one fixture type, we can filter it out to show just our BMFLs or just our MAC 101s or any other fixtures we happen to have in our queue list. Using the window appearance menu, the gear button, you can change the following display options for the tracking view. Column size can be set to small, normal, large, or supersize. Window scroll can be set to automatically scroll onto the next queue or require manual scrolling. Scroll offset from the top sets how many past queues are visible above the current queue. Palette set, how many attributes display when a palette has been stored. You can choose between hidden, display values only, legend only, shows just the palette legend, or legend and value shows the legend with also the value in if the column is wide enough. You can also show or hide various parts of the display to make more space in the window. You can hide the attribute filters, the selection filters, the fixture filters, the tracking column, the legend column, the fixture legends, and the scroll bars. Let's have a look at that. So if we go into our gear icon menu here, I can set our scroll bars to be shown or hidden. So if I close this back down, we can see we got a scroll bar here at the bottom. So I can go ahead and hide that if I wanted to. And if I had the window smaller than my 10 cues, we can see that it hides them there, but we can turn them back on and see that we've got the scroll bars on the sides and the bottom now. I can also have it scroll the windows keep scroll to the live queue or manually or just to show the next queue. Here our scroll offset is showing 2 from the top, 5, 10, 15, or 20, or 25. If we go into our column options, we can have either show the legend or not. So we see here, we see a legend for our queue. We can turn that off, so we no longer see the legend. We can turn off the tracking column, so it no longer shows our tracking, or turn it back on. We can have it show our column sizes, either normal, large, supersize, or small. We'll show it how if we have them set to large. See, they're a little bit wider now. If I change to fixture legends, I can have it show the fixture legends at the top or not. So it says our legend for it, or we can have it show just the user number. We can also have our palettes show our legend and value. So here we see we've got a palettes in our colors here, and we'll just filter out the colors. We can see that it has the color swipe from the legend of the palette as well as the value. So we change that to show just hide the palettes completely and show just the values recorded. Or we could have it show the legend only for the palette, so it doesn't show the value, just the legend of the palette itself. Or again, have it show both. And we set our columns to supersize. We can see that makes them rather large, to be helpful for large values, or small to get more space on the screen. We can also set our filter options. We can have it either show the attributes on the side, the filter by, or the fixture type, so we can turn those all on or off. So we can turn off the attributes, turn off the filters, and turn off the fixture filters, and see that it gives us even more space and just has the remaining window here. And see that it turns on our attributes, our filter by, and our fixture type again. In the context menu for the tracking view screen, there are sort and filter options. Attributes can be sorted in the IPCGPES bank order or by current bank first, where the selected attribute bank shows first, followed by the others. Window scroll can be sorted by user number, last selected, and DNX address. Columns can be sorted as fixture, then attribute, each fixture listed with its attributes, or attribute then fixture, same attributes listed together. For filter options, by current wheels, links the attribute filters to the currently selected attribute bank. Also changing the attribute bank filter in the tracking view window will change the attribute bank for the wheels when this option is enabled. By filter selection, links the window to the currently selected fixtures when enabled. So let's have a look at that. So again, our context menu is using the left soft keys B, C, and D, or the 4 lines button. It's going to be the same thing. So here we can select a queue list if we wanted to. So we were looking with queue list 15, so we'll say working with that one. Or you select queue list 14 and see the information in it. Currently has no filters, so we can go back to all on it and all fixtures and be able to see it all there. Or we can go back to our queue list 15 that we've been working with. I can either follow connected queue list or not. So if I was to connect a queue list 14 instead by pressing our connect key, then the blue button on our queue list, we can see that it changes to queue list 14 because that's the one I'm currently connected to. Or go back to queue list 15 again. If I was to fire queue list 14, see that it automatically changes to it because it's following the current one that's currently connected. or you can turn that off and have it follow whichever one you leave it connected to last. I can also have it set, I can also change my sort. So here I can have it do between either the attributes bank order, the fixtures user number, or fixtures then attributes, or I can have it do attributes, the IPCGBS bank order, or the current bank first. So if I was to change my bank to Gobo, it shows the Gobo first, and then goes to the other attributes, or the default order of IPCGBES. I can have it do by the fixtures. I can have it either sort them by the user number, the last selected, or the DMX address. So since my last selected was fixtures 10 and 11, it puts those first, then goes into all my other fixtures. Or I can have it do it by their DMX address, which of course would put 9 again at the start because the way my fixtures are addressed, or by their user number. I can also do fixtures then attributes, or attributes then fixtures. So if I was to have it set to here, I can have it do all my attributes, so all my dimmers, and then all my shutters, then all my pans, then all my tilts, or have it do it by fixtures, which would be every attribute of fixture 9, and then fixture 10, so on and so forth. Or again, have it do it by the attributes first, and then each fixture. I can also filter it. I can have a filter by the bank selection, on or off. So as I have Gobo selected right now, it will filter all the Gobos, or just what it is set to currently over here. If I have this turned on also, if I change here, it'll change my wheels selection down over below here. Have fixture selection on or off. Have it set to fixture selection. The window links to the currently shown fixtures. So if I was to select these 2 fixtures, so we'll do these 4, and then reopen our tracking view. We see it shows just those 4 fixtures. Or we can turn it off to have that off and still show all of our other fixtures. Also, if our fixtures happen to have any cells, we can have it either show the cells when they are used. If they aren't there, they won't be shown. Always show any cells, or always hide cells. So that has been Tracking View in version 16 of Titan. I hope you learned something. Join us on Facebook at Avolites US. Join us here next time. Please subscribe. Thanks. Bye.
Wheel stop.
Roger, wheel stop, Discovery. Welcome back. A great ending to the new beginning.